Hi, book lovers. Welcome back to Nick's Notes. I'm your girl, Nick, and today we are here to review The Wishing Game by Meg Shaffer. And so this book is classified from my library as romance, and we'll touch upon that a little bit, but I don't think that's exactly how I would have classified it. So to give you a summary of the book, so there will be spoilers, keep that in mind. We start off with our main character, Lucy Hart. Lucy is a kindergarten teacher's assistant, and we come to find out that she is not really financially well off. So she still shares a house with several roommates, some of which are still in college, even though she's already kind of graduated. And she doesn't have, so she doesn't have her own place. She doesn't have a car. And so she's kind of in a situation where she really is kind of struggling to support herself. The reason that this is important is because one of the students in her class faced a tragedy. He lost both parents, and he went to stay with her as a temporary, almost like a temporary foster. Once that incident happened, they, asked him who he would like to stay with, and he talked about his teacher, and so he got to stay with her for a few days. Well, that cemented their relationship, and that really made Lucy want to adopt this young little boy named Christopher. And so she's been working, 2 years to really get her finances together so that she can adopt this little boy. And so that's pretty much the premise of the book, right? It's like, how do we get these two people that have been through these trying family relationships together to form a family unit. Lucy's trying family relationship is that when she was younger, her older sister was sick in and out of Children's Hospital. And so because of that, she became a second thought or afterthought to her parents and always felt neglected by them. It ended up that she ended up going to live with her grandparents because her parents just really, they say, didn't want to deal with her and pretty much didn't love her because they were so focused on the older sick child. So, Lucy and Christopher have bonded through Lucy's childhood book series that helped her to get through her traumatic childhood. And so that book series is called Clockwork Island. It's all of these stories are centered around an island shaped like a clock, right? So each of the different areas on the island are denoted by the times on the clock. So for example, 5 o'clock beach is one of it. And then the lighthouse at 12 and noon. And some other different areas, the picnic area, the cottage area, et cetera, et cetera. And so these books are about children that have faced their fears and, to overcome. Let me see. So the books are about children visiting the island because they have a wish. But in order to have their wish granted, they have to overcome their fears. So that's why it's called The Wishing Game. So with that, the author of those book series, Jack Matterson, has pretty much been MIA for like the last 6 or so years. And no one's heard from him. He hasn't written any new books. And so the world's kind of just moved on. I guess they figured, he's retired. He had made enough money. He was kind of done writing books. And then all of a sudden, he announces that he's written a new book, but that book will only go to the winner of a game that he's created. And so it is a single print edition of his latest book, and he's invited some people to come to Clock Island to play the game for the prize of winning the book. And so that got a lot of media attention. A lot of people were trying to figure out how they can get on the island. Being able to get that book would be so impactful to so many people's lives because, obviously it's going to be this bestseller book. You're going to make a ton of money off of it. And so, people just start thinking about how they can kind of get their hands on that. And so Lucy is actually one of 4 people that receive an invitation to Clock Island to play the game. And so as the book progresses, we find out that the 4 contestants as kids ventured to Clock Island because they had a wish that they wanted to get granted. And so whereas a lot of kids, believe the book is fiction or, wouldn't be willing to like kind of take that chance, these 4 kids were so passionate about their wish and brave in doing so to pursue it that they ended up on the island. And so Jack remembers them and invites them to participate in this game. So, this book ended up on my to be read list, just I think from another series that I just finished, which has some kind of like mystery and like riddles and puzzle solving. So I think that's how I ended up with this one. But even though there were a few riddles in there, to me it wasn't like a big mystery, right? So I guess that's why it's labeled romance. So enter the romance. The romance comes in the form of Hugo Reese, who is the illustrator for the Clockwork series. And he's not the original illustrator, but he was hired when he was 21 to re-illustrate all of the former books and then be the illustrator for all the new books. And so he actually lives on Clock Island with Jack. And so when Lucy was a child and ran away to Clock Island, she actually met Hugo. He was a young adult, 21. She was about 13. And so she remembers that interaction. So, when she gets to Clock Island, she sees him, he's handsome, all of that, et cetera, et cetera. And it really goes into how how Lucy has to like play this game, and then how through playing this game, she's kind of like falling for Hugo. To me, though, it's not very... it's predictable. Like you could see that coming a mile away. You feel like, oh, okay, we know exactly what's going to happen. She's going to win. She's going to get Christopher. She's going to get Hugo, et cetera, et cetera. And I mean, the only, I guess what you would say, plot twist is that she didn't win the contest. No one won the contest. So the book ended up going to the publishers anyway. But Jack was able to graciously give all of them prizes anyway that was kind of helping them in their current situations. So, I mean, yeah, I guess it has, that like feel good ending to it. But to me, it was very, it lacked details to really like get you emotionally involved in the characters. So like the other 3 characters that we meet on the island as part of the contest, like we talk about them a little bit and you kind of hear bits and pieces of their backstory to figure out that they're also in financial constraints in different forms or fashion. But to me, it wasn't it wasn't the greatest. So it's an easy enough read that I finished it. So it didn't end up on my did not finish list. So it was like a cutesy little story. But to me, knowing what I know now, would I go back and read it? Probably not. So I hate to give less than raving reviews, but in this case, that is what it is. So if you're interested, like I said, it is a short read. It didn't take me that long to finish it. A lot is popular because once again, it's on hold at the library with like 90 something people waiting. So I'm going to go ahead and return it so they can jump on it. But, I just think that there's some other stuff out there that I'd probably enjoy a little bit better. So anyway, thank you for taking the time out to listen to my review, and I hope to see you next time. Have a great one. Bye.